Welcome to Anne Marie's workshop. My name is Anne Marie and I love to make things with joy. If you like to make things with joy, you have found the right place. Please like, subscribe, and share, and press the notification bell so you can find out when I release new content. Let's get started. So this is a very short sew-along video. I created a dress last night. I'd gotten the idea from other people, but I thought I'd do a little short sew-along to see what I did with the materials I got, because I am working on Dress a Girl, Project Dress a Girl 2024, and I'm making dresses for little girls or younger girls who need them. All right, so I remembered, I've seen other people make these t-shirt dresses. I remember how much my girls loved them. They would rock them with boots, sneakers, sandals, t-shirt, and I would add some beautiful fabric to the bottom. So I just wanted to show you my method, and if someone else has created that, I'll try and find them and I'll show a link so you can see other ways of doing it. But let's get started. So first of all, these are the dresses that I've created so far, with leftover scrap material at the bottom and using the last 5 inches of the t-shirt to create the Dress a Girl pockets, because the pockets are essential. Remember, the dresses have to be able to go over their heads. There can be no additional buttons or zippers as fasteners. And I just thought that this is a really great look, really casual, and I think it will work well, and it can be washed and washed and washed again. So let me show you what I did. So I'm so sorry, I've already cut all the t-shirts. When I was in visiting America last year, I went to Joann Fabrics and they had 4 t-shirts for $10 for little people. This is size small, youth or child. And I cut 5 inches off of the bottom of the t-shirt to make the top of the dress. Okay, so you're going to need the leftover in order to make the pockets, because this is what you're going to use to make your pockets. Now, to make this dress as easy as possible and it has a good full look, you can either use 45-inch wide fabric, or if you put together scraps, the length of 45 inches, or I'm not sure, none of these are 60 inches wide, but I cut them from selvage to selvage, 16 inches wide. That went along with my size small shirts. The beauty of this is you can add a couple more inches to this as you go up to medium and large, because remember, our older girls need dresses as well. So I cut that, so that made it super easy because one side is already finished, so I don't have to French seam or figure out what to do with this side. I'm going to put a hem on the bottom, fold over twice, and I'm going to gather the top to attach to my t-shirt. Okay, so now on that though, I am going to use French seams because I want that seam between the gathers and the t-shirt to be encased in fabric, so that there's no raveling, things don't get broken down in the wash, because we don't know where our girls are going to be washing their clothes. Just in case I didn't say, I cut 2 16-inch lengths. All right, just in case. I didn't just want, I wanted the skirt to be full and pretty for our little girls. Now it's time to add a hem to the bottom. I'm just doing a simple double fold about a 1/4 of an inch wide. Now to my beginning sewers, or just a reminder, I'm going to add a gathering stitch, the longest stitch on my machine, to this edge now that I've done the hem on that. This is quite an easy dress to make. Now, In order, I'm not going to use, for my beginner sewers, I'm not going to use one continuous thread. I have halved it. These are the two side seams. And I folded it in half. So most likely, I'm going to snip right here to remind myself when I'm doing the gathering stitch that I'm going to pull up, I'm going to stop my threads, pull up and cut the thread on the machine so I can have a bobbin thread to pull to make my gathers. Now this little snip here will also help me determine where to attach this to my t-shirt. These seams are going to be attached on the side. This point here with the snip and this point here will be attached to the center point and the back center point of my t-shirt. It will help me keep my gathers even and anchor my dress so that there's no lopsidedness. Now for my brain, here comes the tricky part. This is where I am liable to get into trouble. Now, I'm going to find the sides of my dress. Here's one. Here's the other one of my skirt. Now, I am French seaming this. So that means the wrong sides are going to be touching each other. And then I'm going to come back and do another stitch after I've attached this first stitch, and that will enclose these lovely raw edges together. I might even also, after I enclose it, I might do an additional stitch so that to kind of reinforce the weight of the skirt on this knit shirt. So remember, the wrong sides are going to be touching. So I've turned this to the right side. I'm going to turn my little t-shirt here to the wrong side. All right, so these wrong sides touching each other, I'm going to slide it inside the skirt, and I'm going to attach the side of the skirt, right sides out, right sides out. Trust me, y'all, I've made this mistake. And if you do that and you stitch and you don't catch yourself and you trim, now bias tape is involved in order to cover those edges. And nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. So I'm going to take this side and attach it to the other side. Now I also broke this paring down into smaller increments. These are for my new sewers. Every established sewer has their method for how they place their gathers. This is if you're new and you're not exactly sure how to do this, because this is a very simple dress. So I'm going to take the center of the skirt and place it on the center of the t-shirt. Okay, so sometimes you can eyeball it. You don't necessarily, because this is a kind of a made-up pattern, then you can pull the center of the skirt and center of the t-shirt and touch the center of the skirt, and those things come together. And you can pin them in place before you gather. And that's how I do it. And because this is a lot to handle, I do the same process. Remember, it's been attached at 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. Side, back, front, side, front. One more time. Front, side, back, side. Let's see. And so now I do the same method I pull these two together and these two together, and I'm going to attach them with a pin. So I'm going to break down that gathered edge, so I'll make sure that I get a very even spacing of my gathers. So I'll do it one more time. I touch these 2 points together, these 2 points together. So this is halfway in between these two distances. And I'm going to touch them to one another and secure them with a pin. And I'm going to do that maybe around the skirt until I feel like it's very, very straightforward about the gathering. The bigger your skirt, the more this is very helpful. You end up with even spaces, and you don't feel like, oh, am I pulling too hard on this side? Are my gathers in the wrong place? You can even break up your gathering that way. Like you could make sure that your gatherings are shorter. So now it is attached in 8 places on this skirt. So as I sit down to do my gathering, I could even get smaller. I could even get smaller if I felt insecure about it. But I think this is a pretty good distance. So now that I've done that, it's just a matter of pulling my gathers within that space that I've created. To fit my space. And it'll be very even. And it will fit the dress. So I'm going to gather all the way around, and then we'll be right back. All right, ready to initially attach my skirt to my t-shirt. Okay, so we have the initial stitching with all the accompanying threads that go along with it. But we are going to trim this, maybe not too close to the edge on this particular skirt since we want it to stay sturdy. Then we're going to flip it up and stitch again and enclose all of these seams. Okay, so after I trim, I'll be right back. Now I use my applique scissors to trim, or I use a smaller scissor just because of these gathers. I don't want my scissor to be too aggressive and bite too far and break the seam stitching because it was unwieldy because it was too large. So I try and use like these pairs, because if you snip too much and you have to go back and stitch a little further in to repair the hole, it's a whole thing. So I'd rather take my time, use a smaller pair of scissors, and get the trim that I'd like. So now that I have trimmed all the way around the edge, I am going to turn the skirt or the shirt. No, let me not confuse you. I'm going to turn the skirt into the center. And I'm going to stitch about 1/4 of an inch into the seam between the skirt and the t-shirt. Let me push this in here so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so this is the wrong sides outside, the right sides together, finally, right? So an iron is your friend. If you go around and start to press with your iron or finger press with your fingers these gathers down, it will help you when you're going to be putting this underneath the presser foot and stitching. So I'm going to iron mine because the iron is my friend, and then I'm going to come back and stitch a quarter of an inch around the edge. But I also, because of where these dresses are going, I think I'm going to come back and also stitch 1/8 of an inch away when I have completed the first stitching. We'll see. So like I said, the iron is my friend. It's going to make it very easy for me to stitch along this edge. So I'm going to stitch first 1/4 inch away, and then I'm going to come back, and I think I'm going to stitch another 1/8 length around. So this is my initial stitch. It has encased all of those raw edges inside this nice little stitch. I'm going to stitch it one more time halfway through just to give an extra layer of support. I want my dress to be pretty and sturdy. Don't you hate when you run out of thread? Here we go. Back in business. So now with that second line of stitching in the seam connecting the woven to the knit, I feel even more secure because little kids like to run around, jump, get snagged up on things, and I want this dress to last them, possibly even pass it down to a younger sister. So the sturdier I make it, the more the chances are that this can happen. Okay, so now the basics of the dress are done, but now we have to deal with the pockets. And if I had had a regular pattern, I would have known exactly where the pattern pocket placement is. But sometimes the skirt is a 58 to 60 inch wide fabric. Sometimes it's a 45-inch wide fabric. So I don't know exactly where the pockets are going to be. But now that I have attached this, now I kind of know where the pockets should be. Now, you could also take an additional step and use that seam and stitch around the edge to secure it, but it tends to bell, and that's not the effect I'm looking for. I'm looking for casual, pretty, sturdy, school life for my little girl here. Okay, so now I'm going to take on the pockets. Very simple, guys. Very, very simple. So I'm able to get 3 pockets out of the band of the t-shirts that's left. I chose the 2 that I cut on the edges or like on the folds of the sides. So let me see. I cut them about 5 inch by 5 inch by 5 inch. Okay, so you're going to see that the stitching line is on the inside. You're just going to fold it so that these stitching lines are on the inside and the flat felled stitching is on the outside. And you're just going to stitch down this side and across the bottom. I'll be right back. Now I used a 1/4 inch seam, which was the edge of my presser foot, to stitch down the side and across the bottom of my pockets. And I notice invariably, because it's a knit, there's a little bit of stretch, so I am going to clean up the edge of one of my pockets. There's always a little bit of stretch. I don't know what that's about. Probably my technique is part of it, but doesn't explain how the other one turned out perfectly. So I'm going to trim a little off, and then I'm going to turn this pocket inside out, give it a little press, and I'm ready to do one of the most important things about making a project dress a girl dress, and that is affixing a dresser girl label necessary on each dress. Where are mine? I just had two. Oh, they're over there. Okay, let me go press. Okay, I've pressed my pockets, and they give us these two delightful stitching lines along the top from the flat felt finish from the factory. I'm just going to follow along and seal up this pocket, and then I'm going to attach a label onto one of them. Okay, I just followed along the stitching lines that were already there, and my pocket is ready. Now you're going to need a dresser girl label, all right, to identify it as a dresser girl dress. Okay, so I'm going to place mine in the corner. Let me pin it in place so you can see. I like to put mine on the, I guess it's the left side or the right side. It's on the right side, and I put it in a little corner right there. Okay, so I'm going to stitch this on, and then the pockets are ready to be attached, and the dress is done. Okay, we're all ready to attach, and I'm going to eye this out and see where I want my pockets to be on this dress skirt, and I'm going to place them, and I'll be right back. Now another tip, sew the triangle on the edge of the pockets, because that's what usually is a hard part with little girls. By the time they put their frog, their dolly, some rocks, and lunch in their pockets, it needs this little extra stabilization. So we are done. Now, this is the difference of the fullness of a 60-inch wide piece of fabric and a 45-inch width with the fabric. It's up to you. I like the fact that the edges are finished, but you could take a 60-inch wide piece of fabric and French seam the sides. But I just thought, why waste that extra material? And it makes a really pretty dress. Now, you don't have to be done. You can add a few applique pieces here if you have them. Remember, they cannot have any kind of theme, holiday, characters, no Barbie or anything like that on there. I happen to have an embroidery machine, a machine that embroidered, so I might put in a flower or something nondescript like that. I might have it embroidered on here. So that's the embellishment I would make with these dresses. But let me do a little reflection about this dress, and I hope you get a chance to make some. All right, so this is a little reflection. This dress took less than 2 hours to make, and that was with filming. And so this is a great beginner project. If you want to be a part of Project Dress a Girl and you're like, my sewing skills, I don't know if I want to take on this is a perfect project for you. Half of it is already done with the t-shirt top, and then it's just a length 16 inches at the bottom for the small. You'll have to size up for the medium and the large t-shirt. So next year, and little t-shirts go on sale at Joann's all the time. So you can pick up a few. If you don't do it this year, maybe next year. And remember, Dress a Girl goes on all year long. There are other locations of where you can drop off your goods. I will include them in the description box. This is just simply the month through the sponsorship of Mari de Jesus and her Mari Sews Curves channel. Go check her out. This is just the drive of September, and we have a goal of 7,000 dresses. Okay, so I have one more to do in this beautiful blue and this beautiful Ankara that I have left. It is another, I think, 60-inch wide selvage. Okay, so what else? Okay, now, because I didn't know exactly on the 60-inch wide where I was going to put the pockets, I attached the skirt and then place the pockets. Now that I know where they're going to be on a 60-inch wide, while the material was flat before I gathered it, I would have added the pockets then because it was a little unwieldy with those gathers in place, but it worked out fine. But if you're a beginning sewer and you're like, ooh, you can place the pockets on the skirt when it's flat if you know where the pockets are supposed to go. Okay, so what else about this? I was attracted to this dress because my little girls ran with these. They threw on a pair of bicycle shorts. I would catch them upside down at the playground. It could go to church. It could go to birthday parties. It could go down the road to the grocery store. It could go walking through the woods. And we have to remember that these little girls are going to be in all these kinds of places. All right, they're easy to wash. If you feel like ironing them, you just hang them up to dry. But if you want to iron them, it's just a flat. The t-shirt's already taken care of. Okay. All right. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sure other people have done it, but I was so tickled with the results of these t-shirt dresses that I am sure to make a lot more in the future. All right. Leave me a comment if you've ever made these before, or if you saw someone else make them and you want to hit me to them, because I love supporting our fellow creators in this beautiful YouTube universe. All right. Thank you for watching all this way to the end. You're a good sport or a good egg, and I hope you get to make a few of these. All righty. Take care.